Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Bold and the beautiful fans got to see Zoe do a complete turnaround after she was caught by Ridge trying to get Zen into bed. But she banks on Ridge not running to Carter, and she couldn't be more wrong on that thought. Ridge started his best friend routine with Carter on Monday's Bold and the Beautiful. However, on another floor in the Forrester Creations building, a bubbly bride shows up to talk to Zen. Zoe Buckingham Kiara Barnes just about demanded Zen Forrester Delandy met spend the night with her. Unfortunately, this Bold and the Beautiful scene might be the end of Zoe's pending marriage to Carter Walton Lawrence St. Victor. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers suggest Zoe's tendency to want it all might be the demise of her career at Forrester Creations as well. She had no idea Ridge Forrester Torsten K overheard her heavy flirting with Zen, not until it was too late. At the same time Zoe started to make a play for Zen, her sister Paris Buckingham Diamond White filled in some backstory. She rehashed some of Zoe's past as she condemned her sister for what she is doing to Carter. It sounds like Zoe needs to play these games from what her sister says to her. Ridge informs Carter that his bride-to-be attempted to seduce Zen. All the elation from Carter's face drains as Ridge pulls the plug. On another floor, Zoe is talking to Zen as if she suddenly became a Stepford wife. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers indicate that for Zoe, it's suddenly all about her love and commitment for Carter. However, despite Zen confused over Zoe's sudden change, he seems happy to hear this. Carter feels his future drain away with every word Ridge says about Zoe. However, she has no idea this goes on as she scrambles to get Carter to marry her. Still, Bold and the Beautiful spoilers hint at Zoe soon fighting a losing battle with Carter. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers suggest Carter might be a forgiving man. That's if he didn't need to battle his best friend's influence. Zoe puts on a good act and begs Carter to forgive her. As usual, Bold and the Beautiful won't put a lid on the plot yet, as Zoe needs to grovel some more while giving Carter some fuel for thought. However, spoilers hint at Ridge not offering his best man stamp of approval on the wedding. Ridge won't change his mind about Zoe, and that's not a good thing for Zoe. Carter hangs a lot on what Ridge thinks. Unfortunately for Zoe, Carter is Ridge's best friend, and if he doesn't marry her, the rest of her world will probably crumble. There's a good chance her cushy job at Forrester Creations goes down the drain with her almost marriage. The hum of the Forrester Creations sewing machines had a rhythm all their own, steady, determined, relentless. But nothing about today felt routine. Something was brewing. And at the center of it all was Zoe Buckingham. It had been months since Zoe's last major scandal, and though Los Angeles had long memories, she had slowly managed to climb back into the good graces of the Forresters. She'd worked tirelessly to rebuild her career, to prove she wasn't just the girl who'd once betrayed trust for ambition. But in the fashion world, redemption could vanish as quickly as a spotlight dimmed, and Zoe knew that better than anyone. That's why when opportunity struck, she was ready to make her move. The day began innocently enough. Ridge Forrester had called an emergency meeting in the design room, summoning the top creative minds to discuss the upcoming Eternal Elegance line. The stakes were enormous. This wasn't just another launch. It was a collection that would define Forrester's next chapter, and the designer whose work impressed Ridge would become lead creative director for the season. Zoe had been working on sketches for weeks, her design sleek and daring, a blend of classic elegance and street smart edge. But she wasn't alone in her ambition. Paris, her younger sister, had also been making waves in the company. Her fresh, fearless approach had caught everyone's attention, including Zen's. And that, Zoe thought bitterly, was the problem. Paris had it all: charm, confidence, that effortless sparkle that drew people in. The same people who had once doubted Zoe were now cheering Paris on. Even Ridge seemed more interested in her sister's ideas than hers. But Zoe Buckingham was not about to be overshadowed. Not again. When Ridge entered the room with Carter, Zen, and Paris close behind, Zoe straightened her posture and plastered on a confident smile. "All right, everyone," Ridge began. "We've got less than a week to finalize our designs for the showcase. I want something bold, something that reminds the world why Forrester Creations leads the industry." Paris laid her folder on the table, excitement glowing in her eyes. "I've been experimenting with recycled silk and shimmer overlays, eco-friendly fashion with luxury appeal." Ridge nodded approvingly. "That's forward thinking. I like it." Zoe felt her jaw tighten. Of course he did. When it was her turn, she slid her own sketches across the table, striking gowns in deep metallic tones, with sharp cuts and daring necklines. My collection celebrates power, she said smoothly. Confidence. A woman who doesn't wait for the world to notice her, she commands it. Ridge flipped through the pages, his expression unreadable. It's strong, he admitted, but maybe a little too severe. We need something that inspires, not intimidates. Zoe's stomach dropped. Intimidates? That was exactly the word she tried to avoid. Paris, ever the peacemaker, smiled gently. Maybe we could merge some ideas, Zoe. Combine the modern structure from your designs with the softer elements from mine. It was meant as kindness. But Zoe heard only condescension. MH, she said tightly, forcing a smile. That's interesting. As the meeting adjourned, Ridge announced they'd review final designs the next morning. Zoe left the room with a polite nod, but inside, her mind was racing. That night, alone in her apartment, Zoe stared at her sketches. Her designs were good, great, even, but they weren't enough. Not for this. She needed something unforgettable. Something that would leave Ridge no choice but to choose her. Then it hit her, the idea, the inspiration, the switch. Paris had been working on a prototype for a gown that incorporated light reactive fabric. When exposed to camera flashes, it shimmered like liquid gold. It was innovative, original, and unfinished, but Zoe knew how to make it perfect. By morning, she was at Forrester Creations early, too early. The building was nearly empty. Heart pounding, she slipped into the design room, clutching her USB drive. On Paris's workstation lay the shimmering gown, half complete, breathtaking even in its incomplete state. Zoe hesitated only a moment before plugging her drive into the computer. She downloaded Paris's digital pattern file, then opened her own. With quick, calculated precision, she began integrating the best elements of both, her bold silhouettes with Paris's cutting-edge materials. When she was done, the result was stunning. It wasn't just a gown. It was a masterpiece. As the others began arriving, Zoe pretended to be absorbed in her work. When Ridge entered, she stepped forward. Ridge, I made a few adjustments to my designs last night. I'd love for you to see the finished look. Ridge studied the new sketches and his eyes widened. This is incredible. It's powerful and elegant, exactly what I was looking for. Paris, standing nearby, blinked. Something about the sketches looked familiar, too familiar. Wait, she said slowly. That fabric, you used the reflective weave I designed. Zoe's heart skipped. It's an industry fabric, Paris. Anyone could use it. Paris frowned. No, that combination, those layers, it's identical to my prototype. All eyes turned to Zoe. Ridge looked uncertain now, his brow furrowing. Zoe, did you and Paris collaborate on this? Zoe forced a laugh. We discussed merging ideas yesterday, remember? I thought we agreed to combine concepts. Paris crossed her arms. We discussed it, yes, but I never said you could use my unfinished design. The tension in the room was palpable. Carter stepped forward. Zoe, is that true? For a heartbeat, Zoe considered denying it outright. But then, in a moment of inspired improvisation, she switched gears completely. You're right, she said softly, eyes glistening with what looked like remorse. Paris, I should have asked. But last night, I realized something. We're stronger together than we are apart. Ridge wanted something that inspires. That's what this is. A sister collaboration. Hope and unity. That's what Forrester Creations stands for. The room fell silent. Ridge glanced between the two sisters, thoughtful. That's actually a good point. You've both brought something special to this design. Paris blinked, thrown off by Zoe's sudden change in tone. Ridge clapped a hand on both their shoulders. This could be the beginning of something great. Buckingham Sisters for Forrester. A quick switch, but one that paid off. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.